Hey guys, and welcome to CPL Fever. It's your host, JackMurray here, and today on another episode of Soccer Stories, Get Into the Journey. It is my great pleasure to have on the show attacker Victory Shumbusho. So how are you, Victory?
I'm doing great. I'm just glad to be here.
Yeah, we're so happy that we could work out a time with you, and I'm super excited to ask you some questions.
I'm looking forward to answering as many as I can.
Okay. So my first question for you is, how did you fall in love with soccer?
I think for me it was kind of like a way of escaping kind of whatever was going around me. Like I grew up in Congo, civil war, like a lot of pain going around. So it was like when my family flew from Congo to Uganda, it was the only sport that really, when I played, I could forget about everything that was going on. So we could just play for hours and hours, and it was the only sport we could play. So you didn't really have much options. So either you play soccer or you don't do anything else.
Yeah, that's interesting. I actually read that. I actually read that before when you were in the Congo. You did karate, right?
Yeah, yeah. So in the Congo, the karate was a lot of kids were involved with karate. So I did a little bit there, but not really serious. But because everyone was doing it, so I did as well.
Right. But so they didn't play soccer in the Congo?
Not really. Like barely. Honestly, like I remember like maybe just one time in my 9 years in Congo playing. Like only once. I have like only one. But the rest it was not really.
Okay. And when you got to Uganda and you're playing like soccer, like were you immediately like good at that level?
Yeah, so when we got to Uganda, what happened is like the village. So there's a bunch of villages, and like they will create their own teams and stuff like that. So what happens is since everyone plays soccer, they'll like pick like the top young players to create their team so they can play in tournaments. Tournaments that if you win the tournament, you win like a whole goat. The goat was like the prize. So
Right.
they'll pick like the best. They'll pick like the best players, and so I was like around 10, and like I was like, I want to be on the team to play, and they only pick like the top like 15 players. So this one guy who used to play like professional in Rwanda, he was a really good player. I asked him, "Hey, can you train me how to play? Because I want to be really good." And I kind of did like one-on-one session, and I'll just do chores for him. I'll just like go fetch water for him. I'll wash his clothes and stuff like that. And then he would
Okay.
teach me. He'll teach me skill moves. But I picked it up pretty quick though. You like within like few months I could do a lot of stuff. I could take players on, dribble past players, and just falling in love with the game like as time went on. So I really picked it up. Like the first year I really picked it up to be one of the top kind of kids in the village. So when people are talking about soccer, they'll be talking about me and stuff like that.
Wow.
That's an awesome story, and I love in that story how much determination you had. That's one of my favorite parts of that story, the determination to be one of like the best.
Because that, I mean, that must be a little bit different than a lot of the kids there. I mean, you really kind of went out of your comfort zone to learn from this guy or to get special treatment, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So because this guy was playing for the university there, and it was like basically everyone knew he was like the best player around. So I was like, okay, if I'm gonna learn soccer, I have to learn from the best player. So I was like, okay, what can I do so that I can get trained by him, right? So and then he had his school, so we'll always work it out that like, hey, when he's done school, I'll make sure I get his water, I wash his clothes before he's done school, and then when he's done school, he can squeeze an hour in to work with me and show me some skill moves.
That's amazing. That's really cool. So, did he? So, was part of that also so you'd be friends with him and he'd pick you to be on his team?
No, he actually didn't. He didn't really coach. He just played for his university team. So he only really coached me. But my one of my motivation was yeah to try to get on that team, like in the village when they play games, and like there was a men's team too, where it's like they only pick like three really good young players to play with them, and I was like I'm trying to get on that team as well. So and mostly was based on how you're doing when they do like drop in games and stuff in the evening. Like the whole village basically will gather and just watch you guys play. So in how you do on those drop games, that's how you get picked when the tournament is coming. They'll pick a team, and it's like you're trying to be one of those 18 players who get picked for the village team.
Okay, so it's a bit like a provincial team.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a little
Okay.
bit like a provincial team, and then they make like a tournament where you play games for points, and then yeah,
That sounds really fun.
it was fun actually.
Okay, that's awesome.
So, when did you come to Canada?
We came in 2013, March 6th. Yeah, so because we were in Uganda as refugee for 5 years. So when we moved here, I think I was 14. Yeah, I was
Mhm.
14, just about turned 15.
And how did you find that when you moved here? Um, Obviously, you've been getting better and better, probably playing against older players in Uganda, and then you come here to Canada, and it's probably like you're just playing against 14, 15 year olds, right?
Yeah, I was mostly used to playing with people older than me, um, and like coming here was a completely different experience. Cause then, like when you got adopted, my mom was like, "Oh yeah, you have to play with your age group." I was like, "What do you mean age group?" She was like, "Yeah, she's like you have to play with like under 16s." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "So under 16, these guys gonna be 16?" She's like, "No, they're gonna be 15, but they're gonna be under 16." So I was like, "Oh," so you kind of had to explain the whole process, how it's gonna look like. And then like after that, I've never really played with my brother because we always play together, like on the
Mhm.
same team. But when we moved here, I haven't really played with my brother on the same team, except when I just play for fun on like church like team. But it's because we're a completely different age. We're like me and my older brother, we're like 3 years different, and then me and my younger brother, we're like 2 years different. So it's like we never really played together. So she had to explain the whole kind of process, how soccer here works, and like all those age groups and stuff like that.
And how did you adapt once you got here, like to the level of soccer? Like, did you find it like you use more skill moves and you were really comfortable on the ball more so than some of the Canadians because you were used to playing with older players?
Yeah. Well, one thing was like first was trying to adjust to using cleats because when you've been playing without cleats, trying to adjust to cleats, it could be kind of tricky,
Yeah.
right? So that was one because when we moved here, the church that sponsored us, they knew we liked soccer, so they got us soccer balls, they got us a bunch of cleats and stuff. So like one of my first things we did was like the next day we came here and we went to the field to kick around, so just trying to feel everything out, and then so we were passing by like the fields because they're really close to my house, and then we
Mhm.
looked at the teams there, and a bunch of kids were training, and me and my brother we were just amazed because they look like professional like academies and everything. Right? This was just a local club, but like they all have uniforms, they have cleats, they have everything. Right? They look so organized, and like
Mhm.
for me, my thought was like even my brothers was like, there's no way we can even compare with these kids. They've been training in a proper environment for years.
Mhm.
They look professional. They have cleats on. They have everything. So it's like there's no way we can even compete with these guys, right? But it's like, but the urge was there. I want to play. I wish I was in the system, right? And it was just like a gold, silver, like bronze, like level.
Mhm.
So our like after a couple weeks in Canada, our mom who adopted us. She's like, you know what? There's trials coming up. You guys want to register? So I was like, okay, sure. Let's try it out. And when I went, I remember I was super intimidated. I was just scared. Like I'm like, there is no way I can even compare with these players here, right? But like I guess like soccer is a universal language. Like you just step
Mhm.
on the field, and it's like it doesn't matter what language you speak, with the skin color or anything. It's just what you can do with your fit, right? So I got there like it was just one day trial or two, and most of the players already knew each other. So I just got there and like as soon as I got it, boy, just kind of started feeling natural and everything. So I got picked, and I remember like waiting for a week till they announced the team, and I was just so anxious. I'm like, I really hope I got picked. I really hope I got picked, and then I got picked, and like that's kind of how my soccer journey started in Canada.
Okay, that's awesome. So then you continue to train with the team. What was that like compared to just like playing like soccer in Uganda?
It was completely different because here now everything is organized. There's like
Mhm.
nothing is really organized, right? It's just
Mhm.
get kids together and then they get a kind of someone kind of like a coach who's gonna be maybe coaching, and then it's like you have a team. But now here everything is organized. You have like times you have to be at the field, times for the game, So it was completely different experience and just kind of adapting. And then by then I really couldn't speak English by much. I couldn't really hold a conversation with like I'm having now. I couldn't really. I could say, hey, how are you, stuff like that, but not really like hold a proper conversation. So it was all a process of learning. Like, after training session, my teammates asking, "Oh, do you want to hang out?" I'm like, "What is hang out?" So they're introducing me to like video games, FIFA 14. I remember, and I'm like, "What? You can play FIFA on TV?" I'm like, "You can play soccer on TV." I'm like, "That is amazing." Right? And so it's like it was kind of like eye opening. Most things that I was doing was kind of the first time ever doing it, right? And like I think soccer just kind of provided me that opportunity to make friends, play, again, kind of escape from whatever else was going around to just play and enjoy the game.
Okay. Wow.
Okay, nice.
How just before we get more to your soccer over here in Canada, I mean, how difficult was it when you moved from like Congo to Uganda?
It was well, the thing is, like, our parents really they tried to shelter us from kind of what was actually going on. We didn't find out till later on, but basically what happened was like our parents were like, "Oh, we're gonna go to Uganda because your dad wants to study more theology," because my dad was a preacher.
Hmm.
But then later on, when we got, that's when we realized actually we left because of the civil war, because the circumstances that we left were they're really bad, because I remember we had to walk for hours trying to cross the borders in the bushes, so from Rwanda into, because to go from Congo where we used to live, we had to go through Rwanda and then Rwanda into Uganda. So like I remember we had to walk for hours, and then my younger brother had to pretend to be sick, so that kind of like people who are guarding the borders may let us in. So it was like, and then my ankle being getting beaten by like a bunch of security people. It was like a very kind of scary experience. And I got kind of finding out as we got into Uganda that, oh, now we are refugees. We don't really, because my dad actually owned properties in Congo, but now in Uganda it's like we don't really own anything. We just have renting this 2-room place where it's like, and then during daytime that room becomes like my mom, because she was a nurse, she sell medicine to the villagers, and then at night we'll sleep in there, and then the other room we'll use it for like our parents, right? So we came from kind of in Uganda where we're kind of well off, in Congo we're well off, to Uganda where we're like, I was now refugees, completely different lifestyle.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is that must have been
A big
crazy,
change.
big change.
Yeah, no, it was right, because and I when I tell people to my story, because I'm like, yeah, I want to see like always like, oh, they always thought like kind of life was a struggle, but it's like, no, actually in Uganda we are pretty well off, like around the place we're at. My dad owned land, he owned houses, so actually the life was harder more in Uganda, because we actually experienced actually how most people live, most refugees, because you have nothing, you're living basically day to day, whatever you have. Some days you don't have anything, some days you have something. So, you know, so I think like the difference between the two, and sometimes I look back and I still appreciate the both, because they showed me even, you can still be, in Africa, whatever you are, and still be privileged compared to other people, right? So it just depends on where you follow.
Right. And your name, Victory. I wonder how much that kind of put that mindset into your life there. You know, because I mean, it seems like such a joyous name. You know, and you seem like you're kind of joyous. You take the positive side of things. Um, you know, and I guess that's part of your parents too. They really helped set that mindset for you.
Yeah. So actually, fun fact is that my older brother's name is Glory. So and then there's me, Victory, and then my younger brother's Ben.
Okay.
Uh, so the thing is like they named us, I think, according to what was going on in their lives, like our parents. So I think for me, at least for my name, I got named because my dad had just finished his school, and he did really well, and it's like he just kind of felt victorious in a moment, and then I was coming along like pretty, like basically like really close right after he was done school. So
Hmm.
that's why they named me Victory. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, but um, it's like there was like a meaning to it. I don't know the story behind my older brother's name or my Ben's name, but I know my mom told me like what was going on with my name. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's awesome. And I wanted to get in a bit more. I wanted to go into your game style right now, currently. So I want to ask you, what do you think is the biggest strength in your game?
Um, I think I think my biggest that's a pretty hard one to pick because I always have like three in my mind that I always think are my biggest.
Okay.
That I kind of put on the all like same level.
Okay, well, you can have
Okay.
three.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's
Okay.
hear the
So
three.
my first one I think is dribbling. Like that's one of always
Hmm.
been my strong suit since young age. I enjoy dribbling, taking players on one, especially when I'm playing out wide. I really enjoy that. And I think I'm good at it. And then my next one is my speed. I'm quick. I'm always been quick. Um, places I've been, I've always been quick. Even when I was at cops, measuring how fast we can run, always did done really well. And then my last one, I think, just my ability to be in the right place and right position in the box. It's something I've been told by most of my coaches, but also that I've seen myself. Because even sometimes my teammates be like, "How are you there? You're not even there. All of a sudden you're there. You score the goal." So it's like kind of instincts just kick in and to get in the right place and right position most time in the box and just being dangerous around the penalty area.
Okay.
Yeah, that last one's really important for a striker.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
like the instinct just to be in the right place so you can score those goals. Like the best strikers and attackers in the world have that instinct.
Yeah. And I think it's really important because this is the thing. At the end of the day, is like as a striker, they don't care how many dribbles you make. They don't care how many crosses you put in. It's like did you score, right? It's like they're gonna look at your numbers. So it's like I've had games where I've played bad, but I scored 3 goals. But if I look at my touches, if I look at my dribbles, I know I'm successful. But people don't care. They'll just remember, oh, you had a sick game, you had a good game. But like if I analyze it for me, like for my soccer brains, I'm like, it was not really a good game. I had 3 chances that I put away, but the other things overall as a player, they were not clean. So it's like being in the right place, scoring. It's like that's what most people are gonna look at because you have top strikers, but if they don't score, they're still gonna be judged so much. Even if they can hold up the ball really well, they can do all this stuff. But if they don't score, they're gonna get judged.
Hmm. Yeah. Something that I really like about your mindset is that you're also very tactical about it, about your game and how you analyze the game. I was just wondering, do you think, like, because of your mindset and your instincts, one of the biggest differences between the attackers that your team has right now and you?
Yeah. And I think so. Like, and it compare. It depends which team you're talking about. Because like right now, like with Pacific, I don't really know the players that much. I've played with some at Whitecaps, but
Mm-hmm.
haven't really worked with them for a while. But then yeah, like at UBC, it's like yeah, it's the mindset and the instinct of player that really differentiate players. Because in some instances, I see players who come in with a lot of potential can do really well, but they just think different. There's something like I like it's called like the killer instinct within a striker, and I'm like that instinct. Even if a player is good, but they're lacking the killer instinct in front of the net, the mentality to just trying to get in the spot no matter what, where the ball is gonna land and tuck the ball in the back of the net. It's like if you don't have the mindset, you can be a good dribbler, you can do all these amazing things, but if you don't have the mind at the end of the day, like your points won't show. You won't finish. You won't have the tenacity to try to get the spot when it seems like impossible to. So I think yeah, the mindset, the instinct is really important. And I think some players who overlook it, it can damage your performance a little bit. And then players who actually constantly work on that and implement into their game can really benefit them in the long run.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Now, how are you on both feet? Like, are you good shooting with both feet? When did you start working
Yeah,
on your weak foot?
it's actually funny because I used to be really right-footed, but then I injured my right groin. So my doctor told me like you have to rest for 6 months, or you have to strictly play with your left. So I was like, I'll take the second option. I'll play with my left. So I started playing with the ball with my left. Started just training my left foot, so I could like do most things with my left that I can do with my right foot. Um, I could shoot, and I think in my career I've scored more goals with my left than my right because most of the time I dribble, I actually end up with my left. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I might as well train it so I can be dangerous on both feet. So I could use both feet now, but it's been all like results from training. Actually, make because
Mhm.
it's all about the repetition, trying to get those muscles in the weaker foot really be on the same level as the right foot. So the repetition, repetition, repetition. I think both feet you're more dangerous at it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm lucky because my daddy, like, he like always saw like both feet, so he actually taught me like as soon as I started playing soccer, use your other foot, use your other foot. And now my little brother, he's like 5, he's starting to learn how to use his other foot too. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, so it's very important, and
Well,
it's not great that you injured your right groin, but it almost was like a blessing in disguise for your left foot to help you grow.
yeah, no, that's true. That's true. And I am glad you're doing that. Like me now, I coach young kids now, so it's like I always tell them you gotta train both feet, not just one. So I'm glad that he's teaching you to use the other foot too.
Yeah, that's so cool that you coach.
I always find, I mean, even in my league, most of the chances will come on my weak foot. You know, that's just the way it is. I don't know why.
Yeah, it is. Because if you fake, you always end up on your other foot, and it's like either you're gonna try to come back or you can strike with a foot. Right. So
But I think it's really dangerous for strikers that can use both feet because players that you know that they're going to make that move onto that foot, it makes it easy for the defender. You know what I mean? Because they're just waiting for you to, they're just waiting for that move. You know, because they're putting it on their favorite foot, and
yeah,
it's easier to kind of take away that chances. Whereas if you can shoot with 2 feet, man, you don't know which way you're going to go.
yeah. No, that's true. That is super true.
Yeah, my soccer academy has been teaching us how to like identify when someone is like favoring one foot, but if you're like equal footed, you can, as a defender, you can't force someone to their weak side because they don't
Yeah,
have a weak side.
yeah. No, that's true. My coach, I remember like when we actually before games, our coach they study the other team. So what they do, they tell us like, hey, look, their center backs both are right-footed. One of them is really weak on the left. Let's try force the ball on, there on the left side because they right. So it's like all the stuff they come into play. Right? Where it's
Hmm.
like if the player is confident in both legs. For me, I always think about it. I train both my feet. The coach won't be telling his players where to force me. You force me on the left, I'll shoot. You force me on the right, I'll shoot. So it's like yeah, that's the mindset.
All right. Well, Victory, have you always been a striker?
uh, no funny thing actually. In Congo, I played in net. I played like the few times we played, I was just playing net.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it was weird. I didn't really like it, but I didn't really enjoy soccer much. So I was just playing net. But in Uganda, then that's when I strictly switched to kind of playing forward and midfield.
Hmm.
So, and then here in Canada too, actually, when I joined the team here, I actually told the coach I just want to play strictly midfield, just so I can learn the skills from being a midfielder. Because I played forward the first year, I did good, I scored a lot of goals, but I'm like, okay, I want to pull back and actually just learn to assist, to look farther, distribute the ball and stuff like that. So I played a whole year in a midfield just because I'm like, it's a really technical position, and you can learn a lot from just playing that area. And then
Yeah,
at the
that's
Whitecaps too, they actually when I got signed at the Whitecaps, the coaches they're like, okay, since you're short, they're like, and like your hold up play is not as good. Let's play you in the center attacking mid because you like turning and taking players on. So actually, at Whitecaps, I played mostly in the 10 role too.
okay. That's awesome, and I think it's like super smart that you like chose to play like a position that you hadn't been before because um if you're playing striker, if you played striker before and you're playing midfield now, you will know what the striker needs because you've been a striker before, and vice versa.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's true. Sometimes like I'll coach players and they're like, "Oh, but my coach is putting me in like this position." I'm like, "No, no, no." But look at it. It's the perspective you look at it. Take that position and learn the skill moves you need for that area. So next time you're back in your own position, you'll know. You can read what your teammate is gonna do, stuff like that. So it's like important to be familiarized with yourself with like all different positions, especially if you're a midfielder, familiarized with the right wing, left wing, center attacking mid. Then you know what kind of skills. And I think you just everything you learn from that position, just add it to your overall as a player. It defines you overall as a player.
Yeah, versatility. I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
So, did you watch a lot of soccer? Like, because you seem to have a kind of a really deep like you really like to understand what everyone should be doing on the field.
Yeah, I watched in Uganda. We used to watch. So there's like a cinema, and basically, if you have a coin, you go pay, and then you can watch a movie if you want, or you can watch a game. So me and my brother, we knew the owner. So what we did, we told him, you know what, we'll come and clean the place after everything is done, and we can watch a game a weekend. So we're Arsenal supporters. So we'll go and clean like with like brooms and just sweep the area like in every morning before they start, and then we watch like Arsenal games and stuff because we're Arsenal supporter, and they will put on the Arsenal games. So
Mm-hmm.
we watch those games like at least one once a weekend.
Okay.
Nice.
When did you become an Arsenal supporter?
Um, Funny story because everyone in my house was Manu. No, they were Arsenal supporter, and I was a Man United supporter when Ronaldo was still at Manu. And then when they sold him, I was super pissed. So I just switched over to Arsenal. Yeah, so that was like I think 2000 maybe let me see 2011 I think. Yeah,
Okay.
2011. Yeah.
Okay. That's a funny story.
What are
I
you
like
guys? What do you guys vote?
my team is the Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Oh, Wolves.
Yeah,
They're good.
Wolves.
They're actually good. I like Adama a lot. I watch Adama videos.
Yeah, me too. I'm a winger or like a cam, so I try and like emulate him in my game. I think he's
Yeah.
like such an explosive player
Yeah,
that
he's so
is an amazing is like he's like so good, and he can beat anyone with his speed or with
Mm.
a skill move.
Yeah, that's true.
Cool.
Yeah, and something that I really like about you is that you have a lot of speed too, like him.
Yeah, I know. I was reading some comment and someone was comparing me to Adama after I got drafted. Um,
That's
I think someone posted on the Pacific Post and they're basically kind of comparing me to Adama. It's like I think they've seen me play too or something like that. But I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, I guess.
yeah. And who's your favorite player on Arsenal?
Aubameyang.
Aubameyang? Yeah,
Yeah,
he's like a
quick.
really fast striker.
Yeah, quick, direct, score goals. Has skills. It's like just love watching players like that.
Yeah, they're really fun to watch. Like Aubameyang's like such a blast to watch.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned getting drafted. I mean, how did you find out you were drafted with the U Sports draft?
Well, kind of the process is like players, bunch of players get entered into the draft, but it doesn't
Hmm.
really mean you're gonna get drafted. So, um, for me, actually, what happened is like I just got the email that to basically give my consent to get into the draft. I was like, okay, yeah, sure, because it happened the year previously too. So I did it as well. But then kind of the same following week, the Pacific head coach called me because I've worked with him at Whitecaps before, right, in the past, so I know him.
Hmm.
So he called me and then just had a conversation with him, just catching up, maybe like 15, 20 minutes, just catching up, how things been, because I haven't seen him like maybe 2 years and a half, three
Hmm.
almost. So just catching up, hey, how things are going, how you been, how you feeling, stuff like that. But nothing really to give away that, oh, we're gonna draft you in like maybe a month from here, right? So
Okay.
so just had a conversation with him. But then I also talked to my coach at UBC, and he's like, "Yeah, with what you've done, I won't be surprised if teams are looking like at you and stuff." So it was just it was positive. Like, it was a positive environment. Like everything was just positive and just kind of like I was like, well, I really hope I get drafted, right? Because I was like, that's always been my dream to play professional, right? So
Hmm.
and I have like 1 more year of school left. So I'm like, for sure, when I'm done school, I want to be on the journey to not just play pro, right?
Hmm.
So I was like, everything was falling exactly, perfectly as I wanted, and like all I had to do basically, you couldn't really do much other than just wait, right? All you've done, you've gave your consent, but and then what they did this year is like the teams were not allowed to tell players that we're going to draft you. Because last year, what happened, you could actually tell players. But this year, I think what happened is like most players, they found out the day of like the draft, like basically as everyone else. Like, for me, I did. Like everyone, like
Hmm.
yeah, I just knew that. Oh, I talked to the coach. I knew there was some interest. I talked to him a few times, but never really did say out straight like, "Oh, we're gonna draft you." So
Hmm.
just kind of like gonna get drafted. Am I not gonna get drafted? Like it seems like there's interest, but you don't know.
Yeah, and I know you said you want to get drafted, but when you thought you were like, if you ever thought you were going to get drafted, did you have like a specific team that you thought you might get drafted by?
Well, for me, first of all, I thought Pacific because it made a lot of sense. It just,
Mm-hmm.
um, I know like half of the players there, right? I work with them at Whitecaps. I know the staff. I work with them at Whitecaps, so they
Mm-hmm.
know me too as well. So it made and like I've been doing good in the youth sport. So I think it just made a lot of sense. But then also my agent was talking to some kind of other clubs as well to see what's going on there. And then one other team they mentioned they were really interested, but they liked my style of play, but they already kind of made up their mind on the players they're gonna pick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, I always wanted Pacific because it's like first of all closest to home. I
Mm-hmm.
think, and like all the others are pretty far away. So I was like, it makes a lot of sense that it's Pacific, it's in Victoria, it's not too far, and like UBC is still like here. Like after us, like once we're done the season, they have to go back to UBC. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So you kind of thought that like there was a chance that Pacific could draft you, and then they did draft you. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you mentioned the Vancouver Whitecaps, so I want to dive into that bit. So, what was the environment like at the Whitecaps Academy?
I think in what would I would say competitive? It's very competitive because you get in, and I think it depends on how you get in and when you get in, right? So
Mm-hmm.
some players like they get in when they're like 14, right? Now you grow into this environment year after year with proper coaching and stuff like that, right? And then you get a player like me who comes in at U18. That there it's way harder first of all to make it at U18, right? Because most of these players have been coming to the academy, so if they're letting another player, you have to show some quality. So and the thing is like when you're growing up in academy like that, a lot of time you have proper coaching. You grow up with proper habits as a soccer player. So for me, I remember even going to Whitecaps. There's some habits I've got there. They like the coach is like, we have to take these habits, things that you do. It's like you're good on the ball, but there's things we still gotta teach you. So I remember I used to stay sometime training 30 minutes after everyone to stay back and learn stuff like hold that play because no one ever taught me that stuff. So I'm like I
Mm-hmm.
was really good. You give me the ball, I'll beat player, I score. But when you start playing just quick 1-2 move, I'll get confused, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think for me, one thing that really stood out was like the competitive nature of every player because every player you're trying to get up, you're trying to train with the first team, you're trying to train with the second team, or you're trying to get a contract. So everyone is very very competitive. Every day in you have to be professional. You gotta do everything. You have to do everything right, basically. Right. So you in a way you have to mature quickly because everything is completely up to you and how far you go and what you do is completely up to you.
And while you were there, you met Fonzie, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
How
We
was that?
we trained a bunch of times. Um, I don't know. It was a good experience. That's the thing. It was like it was just kind of like a normal experience. It was nothing really, like nothing really like special because we just same age. We just training, right? And like by then he was training with the first team, but then he'll come down and actually play with us and train with us a few times. So it was like, and then by then it's like I didn't really like I couldn't be like, oh, he's like predict even where he could go and play in the future, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like
Yeah.
everything when you train, it's like most players is the same skill level. Like even back then, it was not like he was faster than most players. He was just like a normal player, but doing really well in the environment, right? So when games come, he'll do really well. So just like same like normal progress of players as they train, as they grow within the game. So it was really fun time because after we hung out all of us and just be normal, right?
Yeah, that's cool. And what about Pamadou Ka? I mean, what's something that you learned from him? Because you said that you met him earlier. He's obviously quite an interesting coach. What's something that he taught you that helped you progress your game to where it is today?
Okay, actually, I just made one kind of like a fun fact. It's like he will make like myself You know Gloria Amanda?
Pardon?
Have you guys ever Gloria Amanda? Gloria Amanda? No. Okay, he's playing the stage right now. But he'll make me, him, and then Georgie Amina, he was just signed with the first team, Whitecaps. He'll make us like stay back and then he'll teach us a bunch of stuff like taking penalties and stuff like that. But no, it was a good experience because I remember when he started coaching us, he was still playing for the first team. Right. So no, it was really good. Just remember like him always trying to work on our mindset. Like, always telling us like no matter what, everything we have to earn whatever we're gonna get in the sport. So I remember like a few times just having conversations with him, and he just always constantly trying to work on the way we think, as a player, and what we want to get out of the sport is how much we're willing to put in. So that's one thing that for me always stuck with me. Like when I think of him as a coach, is like the stuff he's showing in the field, but most importantly, saying how the mindset is really important. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. So do you think that a big part of your mindset came from like a big part of your mindset came from him?
I would say kind of yes and no because I was also working with a sports psychologist who kind of has influence on my mindset as well. But
Okay.
but again, like I think he played a huge role too as well. Right? So there's
Mhm.
like a lot of things that played in kind of a role in how I think. So my background, where I came from, the coaches like Pamaduka and then sports psychologists that I've worked with as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how come you've been so dominant in your league? You scored a lot of goals.
Um. I think well, first thing I think God is good. It's all like He gave me the ability to play. So when I play with joy. I play with fun. Because for me, if you don't enjoy it, it's kind of almost not worth it, right? So I
Mhm.
really enjoy when I play. I really like scoring goals. My work ethic. I try to work hard every time, right? Because you see, for me, I'm like to go to university like UBC and being on a good scholarship is it's a blessing in itself. So if I'm out there, I gotta give my all, and I know my abilities. I know what I can do. So every time I'm there for the 90 minutes, I have to put everything out there, right? So and for me, that's the mentality I carry through every session, every game. It's like we just blessed to have the opportunity to play such a beautiful game in like nice fields, stuff like that. So if you're gonna go out there, might as well do all you can, right? So, and I think everyone is blessed with a different ability, and just do the best you can with
Mhm.
it, right? So if that's scoring goals, score as many goals as you can. If that's dribbling, dribble past people, right? So that's how I look at it.
Nice. Like we just said, you scored a bunch of goals. So do you think did that give you like lots of pressure to perform?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like the more you score, the more people demand from you, right? You score one goal tomorrow, they want two goals, right? So it's a good pressure though. It's a fun
Hmm.
pressure because before every season, I try to set myself goals. Okay, how do I want to do this season? All right, so how many games do I want to play? How many do I want to score? How many do I want to assist? So it's like a pressure kind of from myself, but then also from just setting my own standards, right? I want to set standards that I want to hit that season, and if I hit them, okay, good. But if I don't, then I gotta evaluate what did I do wrong, what went wrong. Did I get injured? Was I not taking like properly of my mindset, my physical body, and stuff like that? Because they all come into play. Like they come into play
Hmm.
when you're playing, right? So, um, I think like scoring a lot of goals. Like players, sometimes you think I want to score a lot of goals, but you have to think, how am I going to do it? Like, what are steps that I have to take right now that are going to help me score those goals, right? So it's like you have to be healthy first of all. So if you're injured, can you start taking care of the injury right away? If you don't think you're physically fit, can I start getting fit? Running stuff like that. So I think for me, it's like the all performances to perform good is important to every player. Obviously, you want to perform, but it's small things that you have to think about before that can really influence and impact your performance as you get out there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I mean, is there a special diet that you follow?
Um. No, I'm kind of guy who's like eat whatever you want. you know, I don't really overthink it, but I also do. I think I'm kind of lucky because I'm not like big like. I don't like candy. I don't like ice cream. I don't like chips. I just don't like they don't interest me. It's not like there's not something that I crave or that I miss or whatever. So most of the time I eat like homemade meals, which I think is good. But I don't really overthink much my nutrition, which I think is important. Like nutrition is really important, but um, it's like it depends. So like most of the time I'm home, my mom is cooking good meals, like all homemade. So I'm not really thinking too much about it. And then like with like I think things that really affect like you physically, which like things like candy, eating like a lot of chips, eating out, and like all that stuff, which that I don't really do. So I don't really think too much about it.
Okay. And I want to ask you, how do you get ready for a game? Do you do like any visualization?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do a lot of visualization.
Yeah. I'm big actually. That stuff from Whitecaps with sports psychologists who taught us the technique. I do a lot of that. I do that too before even the night before games. Picturing myself in the position that I'm playing. I like asking my coach where am I playing for the game, because with my career so far, I've played on the right, left, up top. So I like knowing which position I'm going to play so I can start visualizing the runs I'm going to be making, visualizing my touches, visualizing me getting in front of the net, finishing, stuff like that. So that is one thing that I really do, is a big thing. But also, like, another thing that I do for me preparing is I pray before every game. It's just something that I've been doing for a while. And if I don't do it, I feel weird, like just feels weird. And like I'm not praying to win the game, just praying for everyone to be safe out there and just everything that goes good for everyone. So it's like a routine that I've kind of almost built up. That is, it'll feel weird if I don't do it, and kind of like make me less confident. It's weird because I study in sports psychology, all this stuff that like you make this routine and it's like they're not at the end of the day they won't affect your game, but it's like since you've been doing for a time, it's like you almost have to do them because it just kind of boosts your confidence, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. I'm curious. Like, how long do you visualize for? Is it like 10 minutes or longer?
To visualize for 10 minutes is actually pretty long. Like it's visualizing is actually hard because you get distracted. You can get distracted quick. All right. So for me, I think I'll say I visualize like three three to like about 6 minutes. And then
Hmm.
if I get distracted, then I go again, right? Because it's like usually you get distracted. So I'll visualize for a period of time and then stop and then go again because like your mind, so much stuff just comes in. So it's like you
Hmm.
get distracted. So I like doing kind of a little bit chunk at a time. So I'm like, okay, I want to start visualizing my runs. Then I'll do that. I'm gonna start visualizing me in front of the net. Then I'll do that. I want to visualize my touches, stuff like that, my movement and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a cool little system to for like visualizing.
Um,
Yeah.
you do it? Do you
Yeah.
visualize?
Yeah, I visualize, but I want to try it out like that, like visualize like the runs like in front of the net, because I'm an attacker, like cam
Yeah.
or on either wing,
Yeah.
either I cross or I dribble in like as an inverted winger, whichever
Yeah.
wing I'm on. Yeah, so when I play my next game or when I go to my next practice, I'm definitely gonna try out that visualization.
Yeah, you see. And the thing is like your mind doesn't know when you're doing it real and when you're not doing it real. So it's like
Yeah.
when you're actually visualizing in your head, it's actually happening physically. So it's actually a good way of training, right? It's like
Hmm.
when you're injured, you're visualizing a lot. Actually, it's like you're training, like you're not getting physically fit, but you're building the wires in your brain that actually connects. So like let's say you in your head you're visualizing yourself shooting, you can actually get better at shooting technique by just saying it in your head constantly and repeating it. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. And do you have a favorite quote that you live by or really like?
Yeah. Actually, I'm thinking of getting a tattoo of it. But for me, so before I play a game, I always write something on my wrist.
Mm-hmm.
And I help me just ground it. And my quote is put God first. It just it's something I live by, and even in my Instagram, it's there. But it's like it helps me kind of in the game. There's so many things happen in the game, and I feel like you get frustrated because the ref made a bad call or stuff like that. So it's like every time I write it there, I look at it. It kind of helps me just go back to the standard level. So if I'm getting frustrated, something's not going my way, I miss a dribble, and I feel like I'm gonna get mad. I just look on my wrist and just go back, calm down again. Right. So, yeah, that's my favorite quote.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, and if you write it on your wrist, you're always gonna see it, so it'll just help you like stay grounded and like keep your mind focused on the
Yeah,
task ahead.
yeah. I have teammates too who like write focus, they'll write compete.
Hmm.
It's kind of they will use maybe one word. I use kind of like almost a sentence, but some words even we study in psychology too. That is really important, like to have words like that. They energize you, stuff like that, right? So yeah. Do you have a word?
Yeah, in my soccer academy, we started doing this thing where we wrote down on a sticky note 3 things that we'll always bring to practice in a game. So mine is coachability, being energetic, and positive.
That's good.
So I
That's
always
really
try to
good.
stay positive on in the game, and so I always think about those before I go into practice. And I think something that I really like is that my soccer academy doesn't just focus on the technical side of the game, which are really good at teaching, but
Yeah,
also they talk about the mental side, which
yeah,
you don't often hear about at like this age. So it's awesome.
yeah.
So it's awesome to like hear all these like um all all about the mindset.
That's great. Honestly, that's really great. Which academy are you with?
I'm in Ferris Soccer Academy. It's an academy in Nova Scotia.
Yeah. So
Um,
I think that's really cool.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, I'm actually just studying that because I run a one-on-one academy, kind of like a program with
Oh,
so we
okay.
coach one-on-one, and I'm actually start offering my players mental, performance kind of practices and stuff like that. Like you say, like a lot of kids your age, they don't really have access, or no one teaches them that, which I think is really important, and they should be
Mhm.
introduced to it early on. So I'm really glad to hear that you guys are actually doing that. It's really important.
Yeah, I want to check out your coaching from you because I think from talking to you, you have like an amazing mindset.
At the end of the day, honestly, in the game of sports, is becomes how you think.
Mhm.
Like most players, like for me now, this level I've realized most players, their technical abilities is not that much different. Most players they know where to take their touch. Everything is
Mhm.
good. It's just how you think, how you face, adversity when you're in the training session, in games, stuff like that. So your mindset is really important. How you face injuries and stuff like that, right? So it's like the more players keep working on their mind at a young age, the more I think the better off they're gonna be in the end, right? Because we always work on physical side, speed, technical stuff like that. But I'm like, the mind should be worked on the same too, right? If you're gonna spend an hour work on your physical, spend another 30 minutes work on your mindset. How you think?
I think that Ken is doing a great job in there, like trying to talk about the mindset more, like in youth development. But like the mindset is just it's so critical because more than half the game is played in your mind. Even if you have great technical ability, if you choose the wrong decision, it's your technical ability won't matter.
Yeah. No, that's true. And the thing, I've met players too who's like young players, really good technical, but their confidence level is low. And it affects everything they do. But it's like when they're training, they do really well, but when they play, they can't. It affects them like a lot. So it's like, but if they have the confidence, which is all in their head, right? If they have the confidence, it really boosts their performance. If you don't have it, it really, you know, it affects your performance
Mhm.
negatively. Yeah.
And that's so nice that you have that even that desire to kind of give back and kind of help kids that would need that.
Well, I always have this. I always think too. For me, it's like at the end of the day, all you can do is give back. Like growing
Mhm.
up, a lot of people are pouring into you, right? So I look at it as like as if you're like a jar and people are pouring into you water, right? And then you fill up. It's like now start pouring into others as well, right? So and I feel like a lot of kids they have dreams to want to go play pro. They want to get a scholarship to university, and I feel like best people to help them is people who've experienced this already. So if you can go and really shed some light, hey, maybe do this, it could really help them out, right? Because some people like your road there is rough, but you can make someone else road easier by sharing
Mhm.
your experiences and shedding some light which direction to take, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask you, what do you think is the best piece of advice a coach has ever given you?
Best piece of advice. Okay. There's a lot. I've worked with a lot of coaches, and um, all of them were Man United fans. So,
What is it with
but
Man United?
I think it's actually pretty hard to pick with this question because I've got advice from kind of a little bit of coaches give me pointers in the different areas of the game, and it's pretty hard to just pinpoint one that I think was really like important. Like for example, like with like um my coach, like even at UBC, he really gave me some stuff that he told me about the game that really helped me out a lot in like performance wise, taking care of myself, but then also like Pamaduka with the help, he helped me with mindset and stuff, staying back on the field and working with them. And then my coach that I used to work with actually here in Chilliwack, who really helped me out. I did some one-on-one sessions with him, and he really believed in me a lot. He actually is the first guy who ever recommended me to the Whitecaps. So he will talk and stuff. So he really, so there's like a lot of things in the different areas of my game and the different parts of my game that I've been taught by different coaches. It's really hard to just kind of pinpoint one that is really more influential, because I think there's a lot of areas that have come in at the different areas at different times that have really been impacted me and like my style of play, the way I think, the way and the way I carry myself.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So the rapid fire isn't as much soccer related questions, it's just to get to know you better. But some people say that this is the hardest part of the show, so just be warned about that.
Oh, that sounds good. Let's go. I'm ready.
Okay, so you mentioned FIFA before, but I forgot to ask, do you play it?
Yes.
Okay. Xbox or PS4?
PS4.
Okay. Do you support any other soccer teams? Because you mentioned, do you support Arsenal?
Arsenal, Madrid, Bayern, PSG.
Okay. And Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid?
Pardon?
Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid?
Madrid. Real Madrid.
Okay. Favorite fruit?
Mango.
Okay. Yeah, mangoes are so good. What is your favorite goal you've ever scored?
Um, that's actually a hard one. For a rapid question, that's a hard one.
Just, to make it maybe easier, how about what?
UBC, UBC against Calgary in my first year. I
Okay.
scored absolutely banger against this team. Yeah.
Okay. We'll definitely check that out. I'll try and
Yeah.
find it.
It's on the YouTube video.
Okay. Left or right? But,
right.
Okay. Cool. What is your favorite skill move to use when you're on the pitch?
Crossovers.
Okay, crossovers. Cool. What is one superpower you would like to have?
Superpower. Helping everyone.
Pardon? Pardon?
Helping everyone.
Oh, that's a nice superpower. I like that. Do you cook?
Yes.
Okay, what's your favorite thing to cook?
Rice chicken.
Okay, sounds good. Cool.
One of my faves.
Pardon? What is one food that everyone needs to try?
I think sweet potatoes and sombe. It's an African dish.
Okay, we'll definitely check that out. Sweet potato and what? Sorry.
It's called sombe. It's
Okay.
like it's I don't know how you even spell it.
Okay.
It's an African dish. It's really
Okay. I'm sure we can find it. What is the biggest crowd you've ever played in front of?
Honestly, I don't know. I have no idea because I've been in a lot of different stadiums and like full and stuff. So like there's a game we had at UBC where it's like really full. The stadium. I don't know. I want to say maybe like 10,000.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10,000 is a bunch of people watching you. It must feel great. Um, what's your favorite book?
Book. Right now, Screwtip Letters.
Okay. Favorite movie?
Favorite movie. I don't have one.
Okay. And what's your favorite board game?
Board game. What is it called? I know it. The name is skipping me. I'm not big on boards, if you can tell, but I forget the name. I know it. I just don't remember the name.
Okay. Maybe we'll circle back to that one a bit later. What's your favorite workout music song, and what is your favorite song in general?
Favorite song, don't have one. And then what's the other question?
What's your favorite workout song, and what's your favorite song in general?
Favorite workout song. Actually, I don't have one.
Yeah.
Listen to college. So favorite workout song and favorite what?
Favorite workout song and just favorite song in general.
No,
yeah,
I don't have.
All right. Well, what kind of music do you like then?
That is like.
Oh, I like Afrobeats. It's basically it's like Afrobeats by African artists. Yeah, but then I listen to rap too as well.
Okay.
But like usually the mixture of both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. What kind of soccer boots do you wear?
CR7, my curious.
Okay. What is one thing that people don't know about you that they would be surprised to know about you?
I think a lot of people don't know that I enjoy cooking.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. And these are my final two rapid fire questions for you, Victory. We're almost done with these. So what 3 words to define you? What would they be?
3 words
to define you.
Christian, work ethic, and take work ethic, kind of tenacious, and then I would say persistent.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like those, and I definitely see those in you from the hour that we've talked together. And this is my final one. What are your goals for the future?
Well, my goals, sign pro. That's everyone who's known me for a long time. They know that. So sign the contract, and I'm like, basically, I'm at the door. So that is like almost like a given it's gonna happen. So, but then also other goal is keep growing the game, and then hopefully end up in Europe, playing in Europe, because that's where the biggest stage is, and it's like that's always been the goal to play over there, right? So and then finish my school. I'm doing 2 degrees right now, and I'm almost done. I only have 1 year left, so I'm really looking forward to finishing my school within a year.
Okay, that's awesome, and I definitely think you can achieve those.
Yeah.
And I meant to ask you when you mentioned Europe. Is there a particular country you'd like to play in?
Not really that I've thought a particular one, because I think the biggest thing is actually just getting into the system there, right? Because it's hard to get into the system if you don't have like the citizenship or like the passport, right? So I think for me, first just getting my foot into the door, and then from there, let your performance kind of speak for you as you go up to the game.
Okay.
Yeah, and it must be pretty. Yeah, and it must be pretty exciting because now that they have the CPL, like there are European. I think there's. It's easier for a lot of those countries in Europe or clubs in Europe to scout players because they can see you playing and watch the video and that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's true. Because like maybe 4 years ago, what happened is like you finish university and then you're like, oh, I've played at university level. But now it's like, okay, I've played actually a pro level here. So they're more likely actually look at you because of the resume that you can produce to them, right? So yeah. So it's
Yeah.
obviously huge opportunities for a lot of even young players all coming up. The CPL is huge.
Yeah, and it like a couple years ago, it was hard because you'd have like if players were like kind of through youth sports, it would be like quite a big jump to go to the MLS. But now like there's the CPL,
Yeah.
and like Emilio Estevez has gone to the Netherlands, Tristan Borges to Belgium. A lot of and Atletico Madrid has like invested in a club in Canada, which is saying something because they're one of the biggest teams in the world. They just won the Spanish league title race.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Canadian soccer is like really on the rise, like in like a pre-golden generation. Like we're hosting a World Cup. We could actually may not qualify for a World Cup quite yet, but we're definitely on the brink of we're like getting better and better at the Canadian national team.
That's true. Yeah, honestly, I think for us, like as Canadians, like think also it's not just keep going up, moving like from here, right? And it's like even just like hosting the World Cup, if hopefully like 2026, like that is gonna be huge, right? Like soccer, actually, like the biggest stage of soccer being in Canada itself, that's gonna be huge, right? I think like even the more people are gonna fall in love with the game themselves, and then having more population playing the game, the better even. So.
Yeah, and the women team has been performing at like the highest level for years. So like hopefully like the men's team will also be able to get to where they are at some point. But yeah, I'm excited for the future of Canadian soccer.
Me too.
All right. Well, I have one last question. I just kind of got this in the back of my head. I was going to ask it earlier. So one of the things that you said was you always get in the right place, right? That's one of your strengths.
Yeah.
Is it? And how did you develop that tenaciousness? Because I mean, obviously, you got to be a bit aggressive. You got to want it a little bit more. How did you develop that, or did you always have that?
Oh like you say, you have to be a little bit more tenacious, and you have to want it a little bit more than everyone else, right? So my coach used to say, "It's like Vic, you're kind of like a greyhound in the box. It's like you're just always on the move, right?" So I think I was like that's kind of perfect kind of animal even to illustrate it. So it's like as a player, it's like for me how I developed was like okay. So in order for me to be in the right place, the right mind, that means I have to read the ball perfectly, where it's gonna go. Right? Most of the time, it won't end up where I think it's gonna go, but it's like you gotta read where is this ball gonna land. So if the cross is coming in, you basically have to imagine the whole scenario even before in a split second where you think the ball is gonna be. And the top players that you watch, like, and I think right now I really like watching like Whiskey and Benzema because like they're always in the right place, and it's like they can read the ball better than most people. So they put themselves in the areas where the ball is gonna go. So I think for me, it started more that just paying attention to my teammates' body movement and what are they about to do. And then you can tell a player is about to cross the ball. So I read, okay, they're about to cross the ball. Which part are they gonna use? How is this cross gonna look like? And then I try getting that spot where okay, I hope he comes in the spot from what I see he's about to do. Right, he's about to do an in swinger. He's gonna put a curve on it. Where am I? How is that curve gonna come in? How am I gonna get there? And it's like a decision you make in a split second that almost the more you do it, it becomes an instinct. You don't really think much about it anymore. Right, and it's like you have to be more aggressive than everyone else. You have to literally want to get on the ball more than anyone else, or like on the pitch in a given moment.
Well, that is some fantastic advice for any aspiring strikers out there. Really, really great advice, Victory.
Yeah, so I want to thank you again for coming on the show. I really enjoyed this talk with you, and I'm excited to keep seeing you play. And we'll definitely check out the dish that everyone should try and your favorite goal.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me over.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Victory. See you.